The Wild Boars of Madness. Chapter 22. Been hit.
The mutants team had been living carefree these days. They guarded the southwestern valley entrance for 2 days, but the wild boars was nowhere to be seen. Figuring that this leafy valley wasn't an easy place to fool around, the wild boars had either been claimed by the mountain god or had taken another exit. Feeling halfway relieved, they collected 7 or 8 sets of animal snares. The main force then moved to Cliff Cave, organizing day and night shifts, only hunting some exotic birds and animals in nearby unnamed ravines. The Cliff Cave was both sheltered from the wind and warm, spacious enough that, during the snowy season, claiming such a cave was comparable to owning a divine mansion. Years had passed since Lao Yang's dad's demise in that cave alongside a snow leopard. Now, no trace could be found on the walls or on the ground. Time erases all marks. On the 15th day of the 12th lunar month, when they counted the wild harvest from the snow cellar outside the cave, they felt quite satisfied. They chopped a leg of mountain sheep and dismantled a leg of jackal, roasting them in a wind-sheltered spot on the cliff's edge. After finishing the remaining bit of liquor, they discussed leaving the next morning to have a good New Year. With only 2.5 bottles of liquor, a dozen or so people couldn't share it evenly. Stomachs full and nothing to do, they remembered there were still 4 or 5 snares and 2 or 3 sets of animal traps at the leafy valley entrance. Since they hadn't gone to check that day, they decided to draw lots and send a few lucky folks to retrieve them under the bright moonlight, saving them from a detour tomorrow. Miran lost 4 rounds in a row, grumbling and cursing, and took 3 partners who had lost to him. Fortunately, it was only 7 or 8 miles away, and mountain people were fast on their feet. They went and returned in no time. Just as they stepped out of the cedar grove outside the cave, they heard a loud noise echoing over the mountain. Faint buzzing and the sound of the wind in the woods followed. Muzhang had heard that the cabin team had buried core explosive landmines. Hearing this loud noise, it was probably not an exaggeration to say that 3 or 4 big pigs had fallen. They felt a bit anxious and somewhat disgruntled. The curses from their mouths became even more frequent. Trudging through the snow to the valley entrance, the slope ahead was blanketed in pure white, showing no signs of any gains. This made them even unhappy. Murong pulled out a hunting knife and marked a large circle where the animal snares were placed. He directed his partners to use tree branches to explore within the circle, triggering the mechanism to make the snares jump up, making them easier to carry away. This carpenter claimed his eyes were a ruler, having set nimble snares before. He had reference points both horizontally and vertically in the terrain, making each search precise. Just as they captured one, a companion tugged at his coat, exclaiming, "Oh my goodness, quick, look at the valley entrance." The moonlight bathed the valley entrance, and on the snowy ground stood 2 large black and white spotted pigs. These pigs were over half the height of a person. Somehow, they had emerged from the leafy valley, standing in the snow, their shiny eyes fixed directly on Muzhang. In an instant, Muzhang's soul scattered, and he involuntarily took a few steps back. Seeing the group momentarily losing their composure, the pigs took steps forward, approaching them. Muzhang, having traversed the mountains frequently and witnessed various spectacles, quickly regained his composure. He thought to himself that these 2 pigs were massive, with a fierce demeanor. With only 3 hunting knives among 4 people, hastily organizing a battle was impossible. Moreover, the valley entrance was narrow and the slope was only about 50 steps wide. A direct confrontation wouldn't work. They had to outsmart the pigs. Muzhang remembered the positions of the trap snares, pulled his companions aside and moved strategically. They secured an advantageous position, with a beast-catching rope sleeve about 20 steps directly in front of them and an iron animal trap about 5 or 6 steps away. Muzhang said to his companions, "Let's stand our ground. When it comes close, don't be afraid. When I push you, run to the left and I'll go to the right, backs against the rocky slope for protection." Just as he spoke, a pig's roar echoed from the gap in the valley and 3 more large pigs emerged, accompanied by 7 or 8 piglets beneath their feet. Muzhang was once again surprised, taking a step back involuntarily. The 2 front pigs, seeing the carpenter's wavering stance, took larger steps towards them, their tusks gleaming in the moonlit snow. The leading pig swayed its body and a series of bell chimes rang out. It had been hit. Muzhang felt ecstatic. Although the trap wasn't dug very deep, the hemp rope snare had its ends securely fastened with mountain nails in the ground crevices. When the pig stepped on it, its body swayed slightly. but it managed to break free from the shallow pit. It exerted force, pulling in all directions, and after just 1 or 2 rounds, the snare was uprooted. The large pig, with the snare in tow, charged towards Muzhang, only 6 or 7 steps away. Just as it moved, there was a clattering sound, and an iron trap beneath its hoof rang out. Muzhang rejoiced as the pig was hit again. Unexpectedly, when the pig's front hoof triggered the animal trap, it didn't wait for the trap to close. It had already freed its trapped foot and stepped over the device, dislodging the iron trap with the copper bell rope entangled. The trap, originally secured with a thick iron wire around a stone in the ground, had long since become loose. With a clatter, the large pig dragged a trail of snowflakes, charged straight towards Muzhang. Shouting a warning, Muzhang couldn't push his companion in time and leapt away himself. The few pigs behind looked ahead and won the race. Roaring wildly like a white tide, big and small merged into a wave, rushing down the slope along the road. A few steps away, Muzhang stopped and turned around. The herd of pigs had already overturned his companion, and a trail of snowflakes rushed down the slope like a white tide. Muzhang stood there dumbfounded, taking a few breaths, and then walked towards his fallen companion in the snow. Crunch! There was a sound beneath his foot, and Muzhang winced in pain, letting out a loud howl as he fell to the ground. He had been hit.